Hey guys, before this video starts, I just wanted to give you a little announcement. As some of you may know, my 50th episode of my Yu-Gi-Oh series is coming up, and I wanted to do something a little bit special. So I've decided that I'm going to do a Yu-Gi-Oh based Q&A video, if you like. So if you have any Yu-Gi-Oh based questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and I will definitely answer them in my 50th episode. What is up guys, Rampano1 here, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh number 48. In this episode we are once again on DevPRO, and we are doing a deck profile, and we are doing the deck profile for my own personal Umbral deck. Now if you've seen any of my other Umbral videos, you'll know that I am a huge fan of this archetype, and I've already done 2 videos on it, and someone asked for me to do my deck recipe for it, so that is why I'm bringing it to you guys today. I might do more of these deck recipes. I don't think I'm going to do them for Archfiends, Holy Lightning, anything like that, anything else in the Judgment of Light, because I'm just not a huge fan of anything else in the Judgment of Light set, and these Umbrals were introduced here, and they're going to be added on. They're going to become better in the next set, and I've already made a pretty solid and a pretty powerful deck without a lot of extra cards, so I'm going to cover that for you guys today. I'm just going to let you know that I've had over 10 duels with this deck, and this deck is still undefeated, so it is a very strong deck. I actually had a duel earlier on today where I went through a lot of cards. I went through 2 Master Key Beetles, 2 Masquerade Magician Shinings, my Shotmasters, and lots of other XYZ. So it was a long duel, and I managed to pull out the victory, and it's a very powerful deck. So we have 3, I'll just go over each card and then I'll go back and explain why I have them and whatnot. So we have 3 Umbral Ghouls, 2 Mystic Thanatos, 3 Kagetokage, 2 Summoner Monk, 3 Umbral Uniform, and 3 Umbral Will-o the Wisp. Then we have 2 Dark Eruption, 1 Allure of Darkness, 1 Heavy Storm, 3 Rank Up Magic Barian's Force, 1 Dark Hole, 2 gold Sarcophaguses, 1 monster Reborn, 2 magical Mallets, and 1 pot of Duality. And then for traps we have 2 bottomless trap holes, 1 mirror force, 1 compulse, 2 safe zone, 2 spirit barrier, 1 Solemn Judgment, and 1 Solemn Warning. Okay, so of course we have our Umbrals. They're the key cards to the deck, and the Umbral archetype are dark monsters that just work really well for XYZ summoning. So a lot of the time you're going to have more than 2 monsters. You're going to be getting 3, sometimes even 4, maybe even 5 materials on the field to XYZ summon. So ways you can go about that is going into Ghoul, using his effect, summoning Uniform, attacking with Uniform, summoning 2 Will-o the Wisp, and then, or 2 more Ghouls, so then you have the 3 Ghouls with the eligibility to attack. You can go into Ghoul, use Kagetokage's effect, summon him, use Ghoul's effect, summon Will-o the Wisp. That's your 3. You can go into Summon a Monk, use his effect, summon a Ghoul, use Ghoul's effect, summon a Uniform, attack with Uniform, summon 2 more Ghouls. That's 4. There's just so many different ways you can get XYZ materials out. I mean, every single turn, you are more than likely going to be getting 2 or more monsters on the field. If you're getting only 1, then you've slowed the deck down, or you haven't got you've got a very bad draw, something along those lines, if you're only able to summon 1 monster per turn. Even though that there's only 16 monsters in this deck, like I said, you should still be summoning more than 2 or more a turn, but definitely more than 1. So there are so many different possibilities to get these materials out. The Mystic Thanatos there is because if you do run low on materials, I mean, if you were to draw into it, because, I don't know, maybe you've had a heated battle, and now you're both working off of draw power. Whoever draws a good card, top deck wins. So Mystic Thanatos there, sort for a top deck, throw it down, defend yourself, and you can special summon a dark monster with 1500 attack or less. That could be Uniform, that could be Will-o the Wisp, and it could also be Summon a Monk, I believe. So that's why Mystic Thanatos there. Kagetokage, brilliant card for this deck. This is an XYZ deck, so you just go into anything. You can go into any card and you'll summon Kagetokage, and then you got at least 2 materials, so you can summon any one of these. So that's pretty much all the monsters. Summon a monk, again, just there to summon monsters. Summon him. There's lots of spells to choose from. Discard them, and then go into a ghoul or whatever. A nice little strategy with Uniform is you don't need to attack with him, summon useless things, and then go into the main phase 2 and summon monsters. Attack with him and then summon 2 ghouls. If you summon 2 ghouls, then you still have 2 1800 attackers. So a lot of the time I'll have like a Master Key Beetle on the field. I'll summon a Uniform, I'll attack with Uniform, whatever. That monster's normally a little bit stronger. And then I'll use Beetle to destroy the monster, and then I have 2 ghouls left. That's a nice 3600 points of damage. So Uniform is a very good card, and I've sort of combined it with Spirit Barrier, because while you control monsters, you take no battle damage. Although this is mainly to work with Uniform, it does work with everything else if you're going to take battle damage, so that's why we have Spirit Barrier. This card hasn't really seen much use since, I believe, Cloudians. And I think when we get more Umbral monsters, we could see something similar to Uniform. So I think Spirit Barrier is going to be making a nice little comeback with the Umbral archetype. And then, of course, Will-o-the-Wisp, I'll say the weakest of the Umbral monsters. I never really get to use his second effect, which is when this face-up attack position monster card on the field is destroyed by battle center of the graveyard. Destroy the monster that has destroyed it. Although I've never used the effect, if you happen to have a Spirit Barrier out, you could use Uniform attack, summon 2 Will-o-the-Wisps, and then attack with 2 Will-o-the-Wisp to destroy whatever monsters your opponent controls. They could be very powerful BLS's 5-head dragon sort of thing, so you can use Will-o-the-Wisp to destroy those things. And that's pretty much all of our monsters. So, Dark Eruption. Target 1 dark monster with 1500 attack or less in the graveyard. Add that target to your hand. We've only got 16 monsters in this deck, so if we're able to get some out of the graveyard and put them back into our hand, that's a very good plus in my book. So we have 2 of the Dark Eruptions. They're mainly used for Uniform, Will-o-the-Wisp. They can also be used for Kagetokage, because that is under 1500. And then, of course, if you just normal summon any of these, you can special summon Kagetokage. So Dark Eruption is very good. We have the Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn, and Pot of Duality spells. Just staples, really. Just simple staples. We have 1 Allure of Darkness, just a good staple card for darks in general. And then we have 3 rank up Magic Barian's Force. Now, this is probably the 3 is probably not needed because we only have 1 Masquerade Magician Umbral. I did have 2, but I didn't feel 2 was necessary, so I lowered it to 1. But we still have 3 Barian's Force. Now, you could be better off getting rid of one of these and swapping it for a Dark Eruption, which I think would be better. But the reason I have 3 is because I can use it with 1 for this. I can use some for Summon a Monk, and I can also use some for Master Key Beetle. It's always nice to have a card just somewhere for Master Key Beetle to use his effect, because if he doesn't use his effect, he's pretty much wasted. So you want to be using Master Key Beetle's effect. If you don't have anything around, it can be useless. So Barian's Force is a good one in that regard. Like I said, Dark Hole, staple. 2 gold Sarcophaguses, just to get search cards out, more of a staple if anything. Magical Mallet, good card. This is to return things to the deck that we don't need and draw, because there are a lot of things that we will not need. So if we get to the point where we have a Masquerade Magician Umbral and a Master Key Beetle and a Shotmaster out, if we have all of these things out, why do we need a Spirit Barrier? Why do we need a Mirror Force? Why do we need a Bottomless? Why do we need some of these spells? Magical Mallet is to get those cards back in the deck that we don't need at those moments in time, and then swap them out for things better. A lot of the time I'll draw into Magical Mallet first in my first 6, and I'll have a Ghoul, a Kagetokage, and a bunch of traps. So I'll use Magical Mallet, send the traps back, draw some Uniforms, some Will-o-the-Wisps, go into Ghoul, go into Kagetokage, go into Uniform. There we go, some materials out. So that's why I run Mallet. 2 Bottomless, staple. 1 Mirror Force, staple. 1 Compulse. I've been running 1 Compulse instead of 1 because Warning went to 1, so that's why I have a Compulse. 1 Judgment and 1 Warning, of course. Then we have the 2 Spirit Barriers, like I explained. They work well with a lot of these weaker monsters. And then we have 2 Safe Zone. Safe Zone is a brilliant card. It's a brilliant card because it works well with Master Key Beetle. So you can pretty much make a nice little lock there. So that's why I run a Safe Zone. Of course, Safe Zone is a good card because it can be, you can do that little, that thing where you equip it to opponent's monster and it can't attack you, that sort of thing. So Safe Zone's also good in that regard. And that's all the monsters in the deck. Then for the extra deck, we have 1 Masquerade Magician Umbral, Masquerade Magician Shining, 3 Master Key Beetles, 1 Evilswarm Thanatos, 2 Shockmasters, 2 Photon Papilloperative, 1 Blackship of Corn, 2 Steelswarm Roach, and 1 Gagaga Cowboy. The Masquerade Magician is a amazing card. I mean, you're pretty much negating a lot of effects. This combined with a Master Key Beetle is a very strong combination because just to protect this is very, very good. So using his or her effect, you can send cards from your opponent's deck to the graveyard. You can negate the monster's effects. It's just a very powerful card. And then even if you go up into the Masquerade Magician Umbral, you can destroy Spell and Trap on its summon. You can still negate effects, but this time instead you can, when you negate the effects, you can send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, which in my opinion is a lot better than sending cards from the deck to the graveyard. And instead of dealing 800 points of damage, you deal half of your opponent's life point as damage, so it's a very powerful card. Of course, Master Key Beetle, every single monster in this deck is a dark, so why not just run Master Key Beetle? It's a very strong effect. He can protect himself, he can protect other cards you want to protect. No reason not to run it. I'm surprised really that it's only it only requires 2 level 4s because it's a very powerful card. I think it would have had to run 3, so very, very strong card. Then we have Evilswarm Thanatos. This is mainly to benefit himself. I mean, it's a nice 2,350 attack, so it's quite a powerful card. Only requires 2 level 4 monsters, and like I said, he pretty much just protects himself from the effects of other effect monsters. So I don't know, he could be used in the situations he can be used. I have used him before to take out some stronger but weaker monsters, you know, things that aren't strong enough. Like I ran out of Master Keys and I had to go into a Thanatos one. So he is useful. He's not just there to be there. He is useful. 2 Shockmasters, of course. There are some very powerful decks out there that either run purely off monster effects or purely off traps or purely off spells. Shockmaster just negates those decks. The Spellcaster, Spellbook archetype shuts down the spells there. Flip effect monster deck like the Morphin Jar one shuts down that one. Just a very powerful card. You're getting a lot of materials out each turn. There is no reason not to run it. Papilloperative, just a very good, stable card in my opinion. This is in the majority of my decks, as is Blackship of Corn. Just 2 very good cards that can change the outcomes of duels dramatically in my opinion. Steelswarm Roach, again, 2 of those, a very powerful card. It can pretty much just shut down an opponent's deck if they can't summon level 5 or higher monsters. Synchron is one that comes to mind. Chaos Dragons is another one that comes to mind. Just a very, very powerful card. And then, of course, a card that ends so many duels, Gagaga Cowboy. If your opponent has set up their last line of defense and they have low life points, you can pretty much just jump over that defense with Gagaga Cowboy. It's a very powerful card. No reason not to run at least one of them. There have been so many situations in other duels where I haven't been running a Cowboy and I think, shit, I wish I had a Cowboy at this point. This could end the duel here. And I think once I even lost the duel because I didn't run a Cowboy. So Cowboy goes in every single one of my extra decks nowadays. And that is my Umbral deck profile. This is my first Umbral deck profile, and it's going to be the one that I run until there are more Umbrals. As usual, guys, if you have any of your own suggestions for this deck, any cards you think would work well here, leave them in the comment section down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a like rating. As you noticed before the video started, I am doing a special 50th episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where I do like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Q&A, so if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button above the video to keep up to date with all the videos I post. Again, guys, this is Round Panel 1, and I'll see you all next time. Peace. Thank you for watching.